Living in the current era inevitably means we're exposed to Google's mind-reading algorithm. And without complaint, actually, Google has been serving me up lots of slow-living, cottage-core, cabin-in-the-woods type content. And I'm so relieved to find how many people in the world feel the same way as me about slow and simple living in nature. It does also, though, lend itself to potent comparison. And I found myself wondering how much a cabin in the woods really would cost, and whether the escapism allure of these gorgeous videos was truly within my reach. And this is the part of the video where I tell you that while I do believe I already live this lifestyle, and this video will explain how, there are of course many aspects that I can't adopt. Most notably, living on an acreage or homestead where I can grow fruit trees and cuddle furry animals. But I wanted to share with you the ways in which you too can conjure up the feeling that these films and YouTube videos have you longing for. And these are, in fact, the ways in which I am able to live this lifestyle as well. These are the things that, given time, will actually change your life. My first recommendation is to find a body of water, whether it be the ocean, a pond, a waterfall, a lake, or even a water feature at your local gardens if you have one, and turn it into a place that you frequent. Even if the closest body of water is farther than you wish it was, turn the travel time into a journey. The journey to the water. And spend some time here, reading, picnicking, journaling, watching the clouds, or sharing this space with a friend or partner. Consider making it an intentional habit to visit, for carving out the time to make this space a part of your life, even if it's only once a month or once every 3 months. Something I discovered fairly quickly is that slow living and gentle living are core principles in adopting the cottagecore lifestyle. One of the most notable parts of slow living is to be out in nature. I've noticed that the feeling of calm, contented silence that nature provides, as well as the stillness around observing the world and finding peace with it happening around us, sometimes it is available in ways you didn't imagine. Local outdoor public spaces like parks, quiet streets, botanical or local gardens, as well as community veggie gardens are good options. Some people have even suggested that the local cemetery isn't as scary as you'd first think, and many are well maintained and full of old trees. Indoor spaces could be museums, galleries, libraries, and chapels or churches. Visiting the places intended for quiet contemplation are perfect for cultivating a feeling of space mentally and physically. My next suggestion is to be more mindful of what you're listening to. I work in an environment in which I don't really need to use my mind very much, so I have the option of listening to something if I choose. Instead of listening to podcasts or music, sometimes I choose to welcome the stillness, settle into the silence and listen to my own thoughts, or play music that has no words. Freeing up your ears from the mindless stimulation they receive all day, and instead opting for intentional sounds or pure silence, creates a feeling of a slow pace and time untouched. My next recommendation is to be intentional about what you're filling your time with. Something I've learned and have really started to lean into is that having nothing planned doesn't have to mean your time is up for the taking, and sometimes the people around us assume that it is. If you're trying to feel less busy and more carefree, try not to fill your time with lots of things, favors, meetups, things you didn't get super excited about but felt obligated to do. Your time really is precious, and you're allowed, and you're really meant to, say no to things and set boundaries. You don't even have to verbalize it. You can just start practicing it as the moments arise. I like to leave space in my week for when I plan to do nothing. This is when I either rest and remind myself that I'm allowed to simply exist, or I end up doing something spontaneous on the spot. Whether I decide to chill out in the sun and read, or meet up with some people, is entirely up to me. But the point is, it wasn't planned, and it meant I didn't have any obligation or responsibilities to prepare for or answer to. Just the intentional space to truly do what I wanted. A really tangible way of adopting the cottagecore lifestyle and slow living is to give yourself extra time to get to work. Waking up will be more likely to be calm, and it also gives you the option to veer off and linger at some spots if something catches your eye, like a beautifully coloured sky or plants that are now in flower. Another practice is to create slow habits. If you have a lot of tabs open, physically on your computer or mentally in your mind, ask yourself, am I going to forget all about that task a few seconds after I've done it, or if I close the tab? Is it going to matter to me in an hour, next week, or a month from now? We only have so much brain space. Try exiting tabs you've had open for days. The truth is, you probably don't actually want to read that article anyway. And closing the tab will give you some relief and a sense of space in your mind. My next and possibly my best suggestion is that if you, like me, are the type to daydream about living in a cottage in the woods, baking bread and plucking peaches off trees, the most impactful way of living a cottagecore life right now is to start bringing the elements that you can into your real life now. Don't feel that those things don't belong in your world because you aren't living in the environment you've pictured. If Cottage in the Woods you bakes their own bread, then you should bake your own bread. If you'd make blueberry muffins every Sunday morning, do that. If you'd eat copious amounts of peaches and read under weeping trees, do that too. Bring everything you want to do that you can do into your life now. While I recognize that some people live in locations or scenarios that mean that not all of these suggestions may be possible, I encourage you to bring as many that are possible into your life. Fill your days up with all the things you really want it to be full of. In a world where people are ruled by FOMO, I want you to know that it's okay for life to be slow. It's okay to feel bored. It's okay for life to be simple. And it's normal for life to feel ordinary. Take a moment to just breathe in existence.